Hey, it's Sue in the Restricted section. Today I'm going to be talking about the book Winter's Bone by Daniel Woodrell. You might have heard of this because it was also made into a movie starring Jennifer Lawrence, and it was kind of her first really critically acclaimed role. I thought it would be kind of cool for me to read and review this book because it's set in the Ozarks, and I think the movie was filmed in the Ozarks as well. And I was born and raised in the Ozarks and still live here for some reason. And unsurprisingly, being set in the Ozarks, this book deals heavily with meth. That's kind of a problem around here, although I think it's being replaced by heroin here lately, because heroin's apparently cheaper now. But side note about meth, does anybody else remember that commercial from the 90s where it sounded like an advertisement for meth? Most of you probably don't remember it because you probably weren't born yet. But it was a girl singing and she was like, how did it go? I don't eat and I don't sleep, but I got the cleanest house on the streets. Oh, meth, ooh, meth. Like, what? I mean, that sounds kind of nice. I could use a clean house. Where can I get some meth, you know? I don't know, I'm sure it's somewhere on YouTube. If I can find it, I will put it in the description because it's kind of bizarre. But anyway, back to the book. This book is about a teenage girl named Ree, and her father has been in jail, and her mother has had some sort of mental break and can't really take care of herself or her kids anymore. And so Ree has to take care of everything, and including her two younger siblings. And one day a cop shows up at her house and says her father posted bail and he signed over the house and all their land as part of it. And if he doesn't show up at his court date, then they're going to lose the house and basically be homeless. So throughout the book, she's trying to find her father. I really liked Daniel Woodrell's writing. I had never read anything from him before. He apparently has lived most of his life in the Ozarks as well. I thought his characters were really well written. I think it would be easy to sort of write these kinds of characters as backwoods, dumb hillbilly folk. And I mean, they sort of are, you know, backwoods hillbilly folk, but he really avoids just completely stereotyping all of them as being the same kind of person. They're definitely different characters, have different characteristics. And even the drug use, because they all cook meth. Like her family, for generations, cooked meth. Her father cooked meth. Her little brothers are expected to grow up and cook meth. That's what they do. And even that and the drug use in the story was not really a main focus, and I kind of liked that. It was just sort of, you know, a fact of life for them. And there was even some, you know, casual use of meth by a lot of the family members. Ree herself doesn't use it. She's offered it and says no, she won't touch the stuff, but yeah, her uncle just like casually snorts meth several times in the book. And yeah, I think most of the time meth heads are sort of depicted as just like batshit crazy all the time, so it was a different look into it, I think, of it being someone's everyday life. And I also thought that his descriptions were really on point, really vivid. Maybe it's just because I live here and I know what everything looks like already, but you guys tell me. Clouds looked to be splitting on distant peaks. Dark rolling bolts torn around the mountaintops to patch the blue sky with grim. Frosty wet began to fall, not as flakes nor rain, but as tiny white wads that burst as drops landing and froze a sudden glaze atop the snow. The bringing wind rattled the forest, shook limb against limb, and the wild tapping noise carried all about. Now and then a shaking limb gave up and split from the trunk to land below with a sound like a final grunt. So I liked the way he described things, you know, describing it like a final grunt. To me, it really gave me a real sense of, you know, what it sounded like. But again, I live here, so this kind of stuff, you know, I've seen snow like that. I know what he means when he says mountaintops, the Ozark Mountains. They're just hills. They're hills, they're not mountains. They used to be mountains probably millions of years ago. Yeah, all in all, I really enjoyed this book. I liked the determination of Ree's character, and you know, everything she did for her family. I did also watch the movie right after I read this book because I wanted to kind of compare them. And the movie was good too. I really liked it. It pretty much follows the book. Overall, the whole plot's the same. There's a few things different, like for some reason, instead of 2 little brothers, she has a little brother and a little sister. And, you know, there's a few other things changed, but also in the book, what Ree goes through is much more harrowing, I think, than the way it's depicted in the film. In the book, there's, you know, snow everywhere all the time, and at one point she gets beaten up, and in the book it's a pretty brutal beating. In the movie it's still bad, but it's not nearly as it doesn't look nearly as bad as the way they described it in the book. But yeah, the overall plot is the same. So I gave this book 4 out of 5 stars. I didn't really have any specific critique for it, but I guess I just wasn't very emotionally attached to it, and when I was finished reading it, I thought that was really good, but I didn't think like, wow, that was amazing. So I didn't give it 5 stars because of that. I have no real explanation for why it didn't earn 5 stars from me, but that's just how I feel. But yeah, I would recommend this book. I thought it was really good, and I will probably look into some more of Daniel Woodrell's writing because I really enjoyed it. I thought his prose were quite beautiful. But that's gonna be it for me today. Stay tuned for Megan's video, which should be up on Friday. I have no idea what she's doing for her video, but I'm sure it'll be awesome. And I'm gonna put some links down below where you can find us on Twitter and myself on Goodreads and Instagram. And thanks everyone for watching, and I'll see you next time. Bye!